Hi everyone, this is Darren here, and in this episode of Speak Up, I'm going to be sharing with you strategies and techniques on 4 key areas. The first one is exactly how you can make use of your nonverbal communication skills. The next one would be what are some techniques, strategies, and how do you go about crafting a welcome speech. The third one would be more of how you can prepare for a presentation, specifically with the memorization and internalization. And the final one would be on how do you deal with Singlish. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Speak Up, the series. A series where I answer your burning questions when it comes to effective communication skills, when it comes to entrepreneurship, and when it comes to personal motivation. So if you're new to this particular video series and you would like to be a part of this community and part of this mastermind group to ask as many questions for me to answer them, click on the subscribe button and remember to turn on the notification so that you'll be the first to receive the notification when we come up with a brand new episode. So let's start off with our first question. So what do we have?
Jonathan asks, do you have tips or a video about non-verbal attitude or stance when giving a speech?
Thank you very much for that question. In fact, when we talk about non-verbal communication cues, it definitely refers to the use of not just your hand gestures, but here's the thing, it also deals with things like your facial expression. It deals with things like your vocal variety. It deals with things like your stage positioning. So it really depends on the context in which you have to present. So say if it's an elevator pitch specifically, so there's unlikely to be like a podium or rostrum in front of you, it's just you and the person that you're speaking with. So here are 3 key non-verbal communication cues that you need to take note of. The first one is what we call the territorial zone. What exactly is a territorial zone? It is essentially the distance between you and the recipient of your speech. You see, everyone has their own comfort zone. And if you're meeting that person for the very first time, try not to have such closer distance because that's the first thing that's going to make someone get very uncomfortable. One of the best ways to connect with the person is to first respect their space. Roughly, of course, at arm's length would be good if you're meeting someone for the first time or amongst acquaintance. And of course, as you get more intimate, the distance gets shorter and shorter from perhaps an arm's length, which is about 1 meter, to perhaps say 30 centimeters. Now, the second thing that you need to take note of is the positioning of the body. Say if you're speaking with one individual, then obviously in an elevator pitch, you'll be facing that person directly because you want to show the person that you're with this person all the way. When I say face the person, it's not just the face facing the person. It needs to be the face, the body, as well as the legs. We call it the head, body, leg alignment. They need to be aligned in one single plane, facing the person to show that you're fully immersed in this conversation. You want to be there with the person. Of course, if it's a conversation involving, say, more than one individual, then you wouldn't want just to face one person because that would seem that you are excluding another person out. Then create what we call a 45-degree angle such that you're standing in a way which involves one party and another party as well. It's involving them in your circle. It's the same advice that I give to a lot of my clients when they ask me in a networking session, how do you stand such that you're sending a signal to others telling them that you're willing, open, and ready to bring people into that conversation. That is, instead of standing face to face with the person you're speaking with, to stand at a 45-degree angle where the person is here and you're standing here, it creates openness. And the third thing you want to take note of is the facial expression. It's famous saying by Victor Borg that smiling is the shortest distance between 2 individuals. So as far as possible, of course, please use the barometer of common sense to tell you when to smile and when not to. If you're going to talk about a very serious, solemn affair, then of course it's not appropriate to smile. But try and smile as often as possible because that's one of the best ways to help the person reduce or to lower their defensive shields. So these are the 3 main things that you can use immediately when you're talking about an elevator pitch or when you're talking about a networking session, connecting with someone. I hope this is useful for you. What's the next question?
Preview World asks, hello Darren, lots of love from Nepal. I'm preparing to give a welcome speech in my high school and I want it to be really impressive. Last time, everyone praised me a lot for my performance, so what would you suggest to make it better?
Thank you very much for the question. I'm already feeling the love from Nepal. Even though I'm several miles away, I'm here in Singapore. Thank you so much for the question. You see, it is often great that when questions are asked, that a lot of individuals get to learn from your question, gets to learn from the responses to your question as well. So thank you so much for contributing. In order to help you craft a great welcome speech, of course, there are several other speaking tips involved that I strongly encourage you to take a look at. It's in my YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to it so you'll be able to have access to all these speaking tips that will be very beneficial in terms of your craft. Specifically for welcome speech, I'm going to share with you some techniques. But one thing is for sure, if you follow the ordinary, typical way of doing things, your welcome speech, like for example, the typical way of doing things would be to to have a warm greeting, talk about the VIPs and the agenda. That is ordinary. But in order to go to extraordinary, what is the difference between ordinary and extraordinary? It's just one word, which is extra. What is one thing extra that you need to add into your welcome speech? The first thing that you need to add in welcome speech is you need to anticipate the expectations of your audience members. Who are you welcoming? Let's say you're welcoming freshmen. You're welcoming students who are attending the school, who are perhaps looking at the school premises, the facilities for the very first time. Do your homework. Prior to that, perhaps survey ask, or maybe even ask yourself, when you were freshie yourself, when you first started out joining the school, what were the initial fears going on in the mind? What were the initial questions going on in the mind? What were the initial expectations that you had before attending the briefing? Because guess what? When you go up on stage and you echo out verbally those expectations, saying things like, I believe most of you must be wondering what is the first activity that we're going to engage you with. The moment you echo that out, it shows connection immediately. The audience members would say, hey, you know what we are thinking, here's why I need to listen to you even more. So remember to have that extra element, that X factor.
Richie Leo asks, Darren, hi there from the Philippines. I would like to ask, how can I public speak for say 30 minutes with a boom, with great impact? This coming Sunday afternoon, I'll be having a speaking engagement with the youth.
Thank you very much, Richie, for the question. And in fact, when it comes to engaging with youth, for me, I'm very blessed and very fortunate to have had the opportunities to go and meet up with youth, not just in my own country in Singapore, but also to engage with youth from other countries, from Hong Kong to India to the United States of America. And two things that I found to be very striking every time I connect with youth is this, that you need to show a sense of not just interest, but more importantly, a sense of respect for what they believe or what they feel to be important to them. Because many a times we tend to judge, and in judging, it's easy for one person, and it's not going likely to continue further disclosure. It's not likely going to continue with further rapport building. If we tend to judge what they should be doing based on our own lenses or based on our own perspectives. So that is one very important takeaway. And when it comes to youth, they want to also feel that in a way their dreams and whatnot are not measured per se by our own lenses and our own perspectives, but more importantly, they feel respected, they feel heard in a way or two. So what you can do in your presentation is to perhaps share with them and show them that you have in fact been speaking with the youth themselves prior to coming up with, say, your presentation or your presentation deck. Now, the other thing is this. If possible, you can also pepper in the language that youth in your country tend to use. Because when you use their language, it's easier for them to feel, hey, you are a part of us. You see, people like people who are like them. So if you do show that you're willing and able to go to the youth level to understand them and to use their language, you make them feel that, hey, you are like them, and it's much easier to win the hearts, to win the minds of the youth. So I hope these two tips have been useful for you in you engaging with the youth. But if you're looking at more technical strategies and more of these methods, I strongly encourage you to tune in to some of my videos which I've created talking about things from speechcraft, talking about like stories and humor.
Alright, the next question is actually from Richie as well, mentioning that he saw a video on how to rehearse, how to memorize speeches.
Okay. Alright. So, Richie, thank you again for another question. And what I would strongly encourage you to do is to take a look at, if you have not already done so, but and this applies also to many of you, my lovely brothers and sisters who are watching this video, to take a look at my grand finals presentation, the World Championship of Public Speaking 2016. If you're looking for the link, we provide a link for you. Just click on it and watch that particular video. You'll be able to see the entire choreography of the movement, in terms of the layout, in terms of the plot twist, in terms of the humor. And you will see that the rehearsal, how you rehearse for that particular presentation, is more than just memorizing, but in fact it's internalization. And at the same time, one quick tip for you is remember to have full dressed rehearsal. If you take note at that particular presentation, on stage you're wearing shoes, you're in your full gear, but when you rehearse you tend not to be in your full gear. So one tip that I always share with my clients is when you want to do a rehearsal, go with your full gear.
Russell asks, "Hi Mr. Tay, how do you stop using Singlish and speak using proper English? P.S. You taught me as a relief teacher before. Thanks."
Thank you, Russell, for the question. Now, it's been quite a while since I've friends or my audience members come up to me and address me by Mr. Tay. In fact, y'all can just call me by my first name, Darren. And it's good to hear from you, Russell, again. I really had wonderful memories teaching you as well as your classmates over at your primary school. And here's the important thing about Singlish. And in case for some of my brothers and sisters who are watching this video, if you don't quite understand what it means by Singlish, it's in fact the amalgamation of colloquial terms and local dialect that it's uniquely Singapore with the English language. When you bring them together, we call it Singlish. It's usually characterized with certain fillers at the end of the sentence, things like la, you know, law, so on and so forth. And at the same time, we change words, adding to it some local dialect and flavor to make it our own vocabulary. For instance, if you tell a taxi driver to please reverse, right? The proper English language we use is go astern, which means to reverse, go in the reverse direction. But because of the influence in Singapore, we have a Singlish phrase or vocabulary or parlance for it. We call it go stun. But this is something perhaps if you have not been to Singapore or if you're not familiar with Singlish, you might not understand. Now here, Russell, is how you can deal with Singlish. Now, there's nothing wrong in being, I would say, conversant in Singlish. There's nothing wrong with that because there's a certain unique identity and culture tied to it. What I think you're more concerned with is how exactly do you code switch? When you speak before, say, an international crowd and you want to be heard, you want to be understood, then perhaps you would like to be in a mode where you can switch from Singlish to formal and proper English. But the moment when you're speaking with your friends, you like to use a little bit more colloquial parlance, you like to be able to do the switch to Singlish. Now, here's the thing. In order for you to do that switch very effectively, you would first need to build your foundations very well. Meaning to say, get the formal English language right in the first place. Because after that, it wouldn't be so difficult for you then to switch to something and then to go back again, because that is something that you've conditioned yourself to go through every now and then. Here are just two very quick advice that I can give you in order for you to improve your standard of the English language. The first way is, in fact, to speak and hear more. What do I mean by speak and hear more? Speaking and hearing more, of course, you need to say the right way, and getting a mentor, getting someone to guide you along to correct you on the spot.
I heard that.
The moment you use Singlish or the moment you don't use an accurate version of the English language, someone to correct you on the spot is one of the best ways to learn because it brings immediate awareness then, and for you to rid that bad habit. After which, hearing enough of individuals does help to influence and accelerate that conditioning process. Now, the next advice I'd like to give you in terms of being able to speak proper English more frequently is to tend to try and read expensively. There are now books which document, say, some of the common words that are mispronounced, that are misenunciated, some of the common misconceptions when it comes to usage of the English language. Read up on those because you might be aware then of what are some of the common mistakes, and at the same time, even if you don't have the chance to say it out with your friends, at least you are aware of it and know how to deal with it. So I hope these tips and advice, they're useful for you. I hope to hear from you very soon about your development and progress. All the best in all your endeavors. So I hope that the responses have been useful for you, and as you can see, the more you share, the more you learn. So please keep the questions coming. You can send those questions in by commenting on my videos. You can send more questions in by going to any of my social media platform, inserting in a comment, or send me a direct message. My team and I will collate all these questions and we will answer these questions, giving you feedback, giving you advice, giving you value so that you can apply them the moment you watch that particular video. So keep your questions coming and I'll see you very soon.